In a move shaking the very foundation of Detroit, Ram has unleashed a pricing strategy so aggressive, it's sending shockwaves through dealerships and leaving competitors scrambling. We're talking massive price cuts, unheard of incentives, and a bold new direction that could force Ford and GM to fight for survival. Is this a desperate gamble or a masterstroke that will change the truck game forever? Stick around, because what we uncovered about Ram's strategy could signal the beginning of the biggest shift in the auto industry in decades. Don't blink. This is about to get wild. Ram's price war, the beginning of the end for Ford and GM? Something massive just happened in the truck world, and it's got everyone from Wall Street to Main Street talking. Ram, the underdog in the Big Three truck war, just launched a full-scale pricing assault that's already being called the most aggressive move in the industry in over a decade. They've slashed prices on their most popular models, some trims seeing cuts as steep as $10,000 or more. And it's not just the discounts that are shocking. It's the timing, the strategy, and the chilling question it raises. Is this the beginning of the end for Ford and GM's dominance in the American truck market? Let's rewind just a few months. The American auto market was still in recovery mode after COVID-era supply chain disruptions, chip shortages, and record inflation. Prices were sky-high, inventories were low, and dealers had the upper hand. But as 2025 rolled in, something began to shift. Demand softened. Interest rates stayed stubbornly high. Consumers, fed up with sticker shock, started holding off. And then, boom, out of nowhere, Ram drops the hammer. The 2025 Ram 1500 Classic now starts under $32,000 in some regions. Financing offers are suddenly red hot, and rebates? They're back like it's 2008. But here's what makes this so much more than a seasonal sale or a short-term promotional blitz. Ram isn't just offering a deal, they're declaring war. This is a systemic, strategic shift in pricing, and it seems aimed directly at the throats of Ford and GM. Why? Because Ford's F-150 and Chevy Silverado have built their empires on price-to-performance dominance. If Ram can undercut that formula and still deliver quality, features, and capability, they can start siphoning off market share at scale. But that raises a chilling possibility. What if this isn't about making money? What if Ram is playing the long game, losing profit now to crush the competition later? Let's talk numbers. Ford sold over 700,000 F-Series trucks last year. GM moved around 550,000 Silverados. Ram? Roughly 440,000. But here's the twist. While Ford and GM have been focusing on EV development, Ram has been stockpiling gas and hybrid models and building inventory. Now that consumer confidence in EVs is wavering due to range anxiety and charging infrastructure, Ram is in a position to flood the market with aggressively priced gas-powered trucks. It's not just a strategy, it's a counterstrike. By leveraging old-school powertrains at new-school prices, they're creating a buying frenzy, especially in rural markets where EV adoption remains low. Dealerships are stunned. Ford and GM retailers are seeing customers walk out mid-negotiation and head straight to the Ram lot. Online forums are lighting up. Why pay $58,000 for an F-150 when I could get a fully loaded Ram for $48,000? One user wrote. Dealers are calling it a market disruption, unsustainable, and even reckless. But consumers? They're thrilled. Truck buyers who were priced out just weeks ago are suddenly back in the game. And Ram's competitors? They're scrambling. Whispers are already circulating inside GM and Ford that emergency meetings are underway. Rebates and discounts on rival models could be coming. But the question is, can they afford to match Ram without wrecking their margins? Industry insiders suggest this isn't just a Ram move, it's a Stellantis move. Ram's parent company has been ruthless in reshaping global operations, cutting costs, and realigning brands. This pricing offensive may have been months in the making. Internal leaks hint at pressure from European leadership to own the American truck market in the next 3 years. It's a high-stakes game. Ram's move could generate massive volume or massive losses. But here's the wild part. Stellantis might not care about profits, at least not yet. Their eyes may be on market dominance first, profitability later. If they succeed, they can dictate pricing for years. If they fail, it could be catastrophic. It's not just about Ram, Ford, or GM anymore. The entire truck ecosystem is at risk of collapse if this turns into a full-scale price war. Supplier contracts, dealership sustainability, used truck values, everything could shift. And what happens to smaller brands? Nissan and Toyota, who've struggled to compete in the full-size truck segment, may get priced out entirely. Even EV startups like Rivian could feel the heat if consumers flock back to traditional gas trucks en masse. The ripple effect might hit every corner of the automotive market. So, is this the start of a new golden era for truck buyers, or the first shot in a brutal industry collapse? One thing's clear, Ram just lit a fuse. Whether it explodes in their favor or backfires in spectacular fashion is something we're going to witness in real time. The next few months will reveal everything. Will Ford and GM fight back? Or are we watching the beginning of a shift so massive it rewrites the history of the American truck market? Either way, buckle up. This ride's just getting started. Is Ram rewriting the rules of the American truck market, or risking everything in a high-stakes gamble? But what if this wasn't a gamble at all? What if it was planned, down to the dollar? What if Ram's price drop isn't just a bold marketing move, but the opening move in a long, calculated strategy designed to upend the balance of power in the auto industry? While most analysts scrambled to make sense of the sudden price cuts, a quieter group, those who followed Stellantis closely, noticed something different. This wasn't random. Ram didn't just wake up one day and decide to lose profit for fun. They've been preparing for this moment, building inventory, tweaking supply chains, quietly shifting marketing resources, and pulling data from dealership networks across the country. Behind the scenes, Ram's pricing bombshell was more like a well-placed detonator, timed to perfection. Let's talk about the inventory trap. Ford and GM, pressured by EV investments and regulatory compliance costs, trimmed back their internal combustion truck production. Ram, on the other hand, overbuilt. They kept pumping out gas-powered trucks in silence, knowing full well that they'd soon be able to flood the market when competitors were running lean. This gave them the ability to lower prices dramatically without suffering vehicle shortages or delays. It's not desperation, it's supply-side ambush. There's also Ram's manufacturing edge. Stellantis has been aggressively streamlining production facilities, particularly in Mexico and the southern U.S., where costs are lower and labor disputes are fewer. In contrast, both GM and Ford have faced costly strikes and plant closures in recent years. Ram has turned this into a weapon. Cheaper trucks without sacrificing margins as drastically as it might seem. It's like playing a game of chicken where they're holding the emergency brake, and the other guys don't even know it's there. Now here's where it gets really strategic. While Ford and GM went all in on electrification, spending billions on EV plants, batteries, and charging infrastructure, Ram stayed quiet. Yes, they announced the Ram Rev electric truck, but they didn't bet the house on it. Instead, they watched the EV wave stall. Range anxiety, high costs, grid concerns. And while Ford was pricing the Lightning into the $70,000s and GM kept delaying Silverado EV production, Ram pivoted. Go gas, go hybrid, go affordable, and strike when the EV dream starts cracking. That moment is now. What's even more brilliant, Ram isn't just cutting prices from HQ. They're empowering dealers to take the fight to the street. Huge manufacturer-to-dealer incentives are letting local sellers slash prices even further without losing margin. That means dealers are motivated. They're calling customers, cutting deals, posting viral videos of blowout pricing. It's a grassroots blitz from corporate boardrooms to gravel lots in rural Texas. And it's working. Let's not ignore the psychology either. Ram's move doesn't just lower prices, it redefines value. Ford and GM have long relied on brand loyalty. Built Ford tough, like a rock. Ram is flipping the script. Why pay for a badge when we'll give you more truck for less money? Today, it plants a seed of doubt in even the most loyal customers. And once that doubt grows, that's when brand empires start to crumble. Ram's leadership may be sacrificing short-term profits, yes, but the long-term vision is crystal clear. Become the volume king. More trucks on the road means more service, more parts, more accessories, more long-term customer data. It's the Costco strategy. Dominate through bulk, build loyalty through affordability, and squeeze competitors until they either adapt or collapse. Ford and GM, tied up in billion-dollar EV investments and public shareholder expectations, can't pivot fast enough. That's not a flaw. That's what Ram is counting on. So what's the real reason behind Ram's bombshell? Control, market share, power. In one explosive move, they flipped the truck game on its head. The auto industry may still be scrambling to react, but Ram already made its move. And now, they're watching the dominoes fall one by one. But here's the real cliffhanger. How far will Ram go? Is this just phase one? Is a second wave of even lower pricing coming? Will they drop the floor out of the EV market next? Coming up next, We dig into the fallout. Ford, GM, Toyota. How are they reacting behind closed doors? Are secret meetings happening? Is a counterstrike coming? And could Ram's next move push one of the big three to the brink of collapse? This war isn't over. It's just getting started. So Ram slash prices. Customers are lining up. Dealerships are celebrating. But slow down, because while the headlines scream deals, discounts, domination, the real story might be buried in the details. Yes, Ram's playing hard. Yes, you can get thousands off MSRP. But before you grab your wallet, there's something you need to understand. Because what they're not telling you could make the difference between a great deal and a financial trap. What if the price drop isn't about you saving money, but about Ram saving itself? It all happened fast. One day, Ram trucks were sitting at $50,000 plus, and the next, discounts were everywhere. $7,500 off here. $10,000 off there. Local dealers started promoting price drops overnight. It felt like a flash sale, spontaneous, exciting, maybe even chaotic. But the truth is far more calculated. The markdowns were prepped weeks in advance. Ram time to drop, not just to undercut Ford and GM, but to trigger emotional urgency in buyers. And it worked. Foot traffic spiked. Online searches exploded. But behind that marketing magic, a few red flags started waving. Let's talk about those amazing prices. Many of the most eye-catching deals only apply if you finance through Ram's preferred lender, qualify for multiple stackable rebates, and trade in a vehicle that's less than 5 years old. Suddenly, that $10,000 off becomes $4,000. And only if you have stellar credit. Add in dealer fees, documentation costs, and inflated add-ons, and you might find yourself back where you started, or worse, paying more than you expected. And here's something almost no one mentions. Some Ram models are being quietly decontented, losing features like tow packages, premium sound systems, or upgraded interiors to hit those lower price points. It's not just a discount. It's a recalibration. Another tactic? Trim confusion. Ram is masterfully redirecting buyers to base or mid-tier trims and using them as price bait. For example, they'll advertise a Ram 1500 starting at $31,995, but that's the tradesman trim with minimal features and cloth seats. If you want the Rebel or Laramie, you're still looking at prices well into the $50,000. And if you want a hybrid or advanced tech packages, good luck finding it on the lot. These price drops are surgical, designed to pull people in, upsell them, and leave them thinking they got a deal, even when they didn't. But the real twist? It's not just the buyers being nudged. Dealers are under pressure too. Multiple reports suggest that Stellantis is tying dealer bonuses to volume, not profit. That means Ram's salespeople are being told, move metal no matter what it takes. Some dealers are slashing profit margins to nearly zero, banking on back-end bonuses to survive. This creates a dangerous cycle. Salespeople making razor-thin commissions, finance departments pushing high-interest loans to make up the difference, and customers getting roped into longer terms just to afford the deal. It's capitalism on overdrive, and it's happening right now on a dealership floor near you. And let's not forget leasing. Some of the lowest advertised prices come from high mileage, low residual leases, meaning you'll pay less now, but get hit hard when the term ends. Depreciation is already accelerating due to the market flood. So that Ram you leased for $399 per month, it might be worth thousands less than predicted when you return it, sticking you with overage fees or negative equity if you want to trade it in. Here's the kicker. These new price drops are obliterating used Ram values. Trucks purchased just 6 months ago are now worth far less on the resale market. Owners are underwater on their loans. Trade-in values are tanking. It's great news if you're buying today, but not if you bought yesterday. And it sets a dangerous precedent. Will Ram keep cutting prices? Or have they already pulled the rug from beneath their loyal customer base? The end result? Confusion, excitement, distrust. It's a cocktail of emotion that Ram is gambling on. They're betting that the thrill of a deal will override buyer skepticism, at least for now. But underneath that shine is a dangerous truth. Not all deals are created equal. And not all price drops mean value. Because when a truck that was $55,000 is suddenly $42,000, you have to ask, was it ever worth $55,000 to begin with? The blast radius from Ram's price detonation isn't just contained to their own dealerships. It's ripping through the entire truck market like a shockwave. Ford, GM, Toyota, they've all been blindsided. Sales managers are panicking. Boardrooms are in emergency session. And truck buyers? They're watching it all unfold like it's a spectator sport. But beneath the drama lies something darker. The market isn't just shifting, it's melting. We're now entering uncharted territory where one company's strategy could wipe out profit margins across an entire segment. This isn't just competition, it's collapse by contagion. Welcome to the truck market meltdown. Let's start with Ford. America's best-selling truck brand for over 40 years just took a direct hit to the gut. F-150s that were already sitting on lots due to high prices and softening demand are now gathering dust faster. Ram's undercutting strategy is forcing Ford to quietly increase rebates and offer 0% financing in select markets, moves they haven't made at this scale since the 2008 financial crisis. Sources inside Ford dealerships say there's growing pressure to match or beat Ram on price, even if it means sacrificing profit. But here's the problem. Ford has billions locked up in EV production. They can't afford a sustained price war. Their Lightning is already hemorrhaging cash at current prices. So the question becomes, how far can Ford bend before it breaks? Over at GM, the mood isn't much better. The Silverado, long seen as the reliable middle ground between Ford's F-150 and Ram's 1500, is now squeezed from both sides. Customers are walking into showrooms expecting Ram-level pricing and leaving when they don't get it. GM has started offering loyalty cash and trade-in bonuses, but the effects are muted. Worse yet, their electric Silverado rollout has been plagued with delays and pricing confusion. In a market now obsessed with affordability, GM's EV gamble looks more like a liability than an asset. Then there's Toyota and Nissan. They were already struggling to gain serious traction in the full-size truck market. The Tundra and Titan have loyal followers, but lack the volume or pricing flexibility to play this new game. Now, with Ram flooding the market with discounted models, import brands are getting squeezed out of the conversation entirely. Their resale values are dropping. Dealer incentives are rising. And without massive production scale in the U.S., they're forced to watch from the sidelines as the domestic giants slug it out. The tsunami isn't just hitting new trucks. The used market is in free fall. Buyers who thought they were smart to grab a lightly used Ram or Ford 6 months ago are now upside down on their loans. Dealers are slashing used truck prices by thousands just to compete. Vehicles that appraised at $48,000 in December are now sitting at $41,000, if they sell at all. Trade-in values are getting gutted. Lease residuals are plummeting. This is where the meltdown becomes systemic. As resale values fall, loan-to-value ratios worsen. Lenders start pulling back. Financing dries up. It's a domino effect, and Ram pushed the first tile. And on the front lines, dealers are cracking. Inventory costs are piling up. Manufacturers are sending aggressive quotas, but with lower margins, profits are shrinking. Some Ford and GM dealers are slashing prices just to stay competitive, cutting into floor plan financing reserves and banking on factory bonuses to survive. And if Ram keeps the pressure on, we could see dealership consolidations, closures, or even bankruptcies in smaller markets. Even the supply chain is taking hits. Part suppliers who rely on consistent truck volume from Ford and GM are suddenly facing order reductions. Tire manufacturers, aftermarket accessory companies, transport logistics firms, everyone downstream is feeling the squeeze. The truck market is one of the most economically interconnected segments in America. And when the core is destabilized, the ripple effects spread fast and wide. So what are we really seeing here? A market in free fall, or an industry at war with itself? Because Ram's strategy isn't just about taking customers. It's about breaking the backs of its rivals. And the longer they can hold these prices, the more pain they inflict. Unless Ford or GM makes a radical move, or unless consumers suddenly lose interest, Ram could walk away from this not just as a competitor, but as the new king of trucks. How long can Ram keep this up? What if this pricing tsunami isn't sustainable? What happens when the wave crashes? And what if this market-wide meltdown is only staged when a Stellantis larger plan? If you think this is just about Ram trucks, think again. The real story lies above the hood, way above. Because this isn't just Ram slashing prices to shake things up. This is Stellantis, the $60+ billion automotive giant, executing what could be one of the boldest, most aggressive takeovers in U.S. auto history. Ram's price cuts? They're not random. They're not reckless. They're surgical strikes in a much bigger war plan. And once you see what Stellantis has been doing in the background, while Ford and GM focused on electric dreams and public perception, it starts to look like a masterclass in quiet conquest. Stellantis doesn't just want a seat at the table. They want to flip the table.